Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the one more session on cloud issues. So, what are the cloud issues? So, cloud issues are necessarily uh, we can discuss here four important issues, as in availability of the functionality when required the most, the technology issues, the management and contractual issues, and issues of stability and reliability. So far, so good. We have seen issues based on security and many more things. If you remember, we have covered in class the issues and the topics based on the cryptography, the encryption, and its part. So this is one more part which is called as cloud issues. So let's talk about what is stability. So the decision to move from a self-hosted IT infrastructure to a cloud or cloud-like service is all about on return on investment. So if I have a service, if I have a program, and which I'm hosting it from my own infrastructure. So should I move to cloud or not? In view of stability. So no matter how good the deal is, if the service is unstable, it's not worth a cent if my business is depending on it. So naturally, if I'm able to do a good business and if availability, reliability, its upgradation, maintenance is nicely done on my self-hosted IT infrastructure, there is actually no point in going to the cloud. So if you want to launch your services from cloud for people to use it, so you have to think on return on investment, and it's the business has to do well. So a lot of investment capital should be spent on designing stability into both the infrastructure and the fiscal house. So naturally, you have to think about the infrastructure issues also. One more cloud issue is the partner quality. Not all businesses are solely working, so there are a lot of dependencies on each other. So what are these? So stuff happens. This issue is not like whether a cloud provider can keep the evil stuff away. So most of the time they face a lot of problems. So not even a company as large as Amazon can control all the pieces of cloud computing infrastructure from the server back to the clients. So even though such a big company has is also dependent on many sub events, sub companies which are providing them some services. So the entire business is not solely dependent on one company, but there are a lot of partners, and the partner quality, the commitment, the stability, and all of them has to be taken care of. So much depends on partners that anyone getting ready to build company on cloud should probably ask questions not only of the provider but also about the relationships the provider has with its partner. So you have to have a trustworthy relationship with your partners. So at the very least, you want to make sure that the provider will be able to cope reliably with the demands of your business normal circumstances. Let's say we can take an example. Let's say Amazon has a lot of products, as we can see on app or on website, and you can shop through, you can scroll through, you can add items to the cart, and let's say the billing part, which we call the final billing part. And if that is given to some company, well, let's say some company which is like Visa, or some company which is providing the business gateway or payment gateways, and if that is not reliable, if it is not up to the mark, if it is not reliable enough, if it is going to if the records and the data which the people are going to make use of, their credit card, debit card details, their pins and all that, if that is not maintained, so there can be a big issue. So this is very much dependent on many other business organizations. So partner quality is of really important. Longevity of business, it's very important. So there is a nice example at the end of this particular slide that we'll talk about. So yet that's there's yet another set of questions to be asked about one can be uncomfortable. So this set of questions revolves around the quality of the cloud provider, not from technology service point of view, but from the standpoint of the business plan. So how long can you depend on your supplier to stay in the business? So if you are dependent on something, so you have to take you have to see that how good the dependency is. So cloud failure can be disastrous. The fear of cloud failure isn't simple mental exercise either. So many professional photographers were affected when the cloud storage vendor Picturework suddenly closed its doors in October 2007. So there is a company called Picturework, and people have posted, and professional photographers have posted their very important photographs which they have personally taken, and it's very close to their heart, close to their profession, and they have posted it on cloud. So those photographs who had not Those photographers who had not kept on-site backup of their photos were faced with the loss of critical photos and very little recourse of recovery. So that leads to one of the most important questions to be asked: Can I get my server images and apps back if the provider closes its door? What happens to my backup copies? So can I only do a complete image store, or I get individual files back? What recourse would your company have if the provider announces that it is going out of business? We do it every day to day. For example, most of us use pen drives. I personally use a pen drive. I use 1 terabyte of hard disk for keeping everything backup, because you never know when your laptop or your machine that you are using can go down. So if there is a critical problem, if there is a critical thing that I'm going to face, at least I should have a backup plan. So many people are do make use of it. So backup is really important. That's why many servers have mirror images that they keep where the data is stored completely. There was a time when people used to change mobile phone and they used to lose the contacts, right? So now people don't bother about changing the phone, and they can get their contacts whichever are stored with some or the other way of copying contacts information. So if you are using WhatsApp on some number, or some application on some number, and when you change your mobile number or your handset, so you get back whatever it is there. So that is what we call it as stability. So longevity and stability are really very important. So whatever we keep on cloud, whatever we keep on thing, so the company, the organization which is taking care of it should be very much sure about the longevity business. Now, there is one more topic which is called as business continuity. So the instances like, so regardless of the history of your provider, sometimes there are foreseen instances that will drop even the best prepared company provided is off the air. Currently, we can see this. We are going through COVID-19, so there are a lot of startups which might have started some small businesses, and they might be seeing that they will be doing fiscal growth in the next coming quarter and something. But suddenly, because of COVID-19, the many business entire across world is going to get down. So there are some unforeseen consequences. So, like for example, earthquake and so earthquake or some others may silence the technologies like internet or telecommunication, we should learn from these lessons. So that is why companies like Amazon, Microsoft, and others have put their data centers all over the cloud. So you never know where they have kept it. They usually keep it away from the human reach, and they are safe irrespective of any type of natural calamity even takes place. So Microsoft has gone further in purposely choosing greener locations where carbon-friendly power sources exist and air temperatures are low enough to give them as many free cooling days as possible. So being green goes a long way towards keeping a cloud provider's recurring cost in the realm of reality, as well as being politically correct. So these people keep their under sea, deep water, or sometimes in the Antarctica places where a lot of ice is there. So only authorized person can go there. So even they don't need air conditioning at such places, and so they go greener. So they don't want to waste a lot of power on just making the stuff keeping safe. So business continuity not only has to do with stability and reliability, even such kind of go greener initiatives also need to be taken. So when you want to host something onto cloud, so there comes a very important part called as service level agreements. So some sort of agreement that bounds together. So most of the students, since being a student community, or even many people when they want to rent a flat, so there is some entity called as broker. What is the role of that broker is to be an intermediate person or intermediary between the owner and the person who wants to take something on the rent. So they form a contract and that determines. So such kind of service level agreements do also happen, and they must happen when you want to put something on cloud. So maybe as a cloud, I have something to put on cloud, and there can be plenty of options that where I can put it. There can be plenty of companies which are ready to host it for me. So I should look for something which should have a list of quality points that I should list down. So there has to be a document defining the relationship, and that ensure that the cloud computing carries as few risk and as many benefits as possible. For example, if I am launching some app and many people are going to use it, so I need operating system support, and it has to be updated every now and then. I may need some other updates of every other aspect of the system that requires it. So the company which is hosting my things on the cloud should be ready for that. So the biggest concern in SLA terms is all about troubleshooting. So for mature applications and systems where we are familiar with the performance profile and bottlenecks, then SLAs and cloud computing sounds good. So you must have SLAs and cloud computing as solution. So what is important in service level agreement? It should be negotiable. So negotiability is also very important, and you can leave the things open for period review and adjustment. So, for example, in our organization, as I have already given this example in class sometime back, so we are using in PICT internet services. So the service providers which are providing us, we have a service level agreement that service the internet service will for 365 days, 24 by 7. So maximum allowed time to go down where we won't be able to use internet is allowed this much part only or this much hours only. So if it crosses this much hours, then the pricing is reduced and the vendors are paid accordingly. So such kind of services are usually maintained by people. So, when writing contracts, try to think of everything that could possibly go wrong and what to do about it and what to do if other side can't or even won't do what it needs to do. It's a big statement. You always find some kind of contract when, let's say, you are registering yourself to a website for using something. So you'll always find the terms and conditions. We humans usually generally not interested in reading all of them because it is a big thing. But yes, these companies make sure that they write everything and you are expected to read. Even you installing any Microsoft product, you will always see some agreement levels or something. So where you are supposed to agree with it and then only you can proceed with it. So this is a kind of contract service level agreement that such as such services should be provided to you. So agreeing on the services of cloud, so SLA negotiation process is where you absolutely must step back and look at what contributes important. So what you can do is that you can make a two-column list, and it should be made of the first column list features that you must have available in order to continue your business. So features that must be available, and the second list features that you could do without for a little while. So this second list is what you can afford to sacrifice in favor of business continuity. So you can have list of things. Maybe you can uh, contribute you should identify the weak points of your business, and that should go in the first list, and there are some strong points with your business where you should put them in the second list. So strong being where you can still afford to continue business even if the service is lesser. So immature applications need a quite bit more attention than stable code. Yes, of course, definitely. So prototyping on local servers does not mean you won't need cloud-based testing facilities as you deploy. Definitely, even if you're tested on a standalone machine, you must test it on, or it must be prototyped and it must be tested on the cloud computing. So you must be coming across some beta versions of the softwares that you are using. So these beta versions are testing part only. So so next point is solving problems. So a great number of changes have occurred in the virtualization technology. So changes in the world of network analysis with product and network instrument, NetScout directly targeting the hidden network and virtual switch. So the problems, the organization where you're hosting something must be able to solve the problems in a proper way. They must be updated and all that. Important point, as is availability, as is longevity, as is business logic, is equally important, called as quality of service. So level of service and quality of service are the things which are related. So but they are not precisely the same thing and should not be measured in the exact same way. So service level agreements, so service level is the availability of a given service. Quality of service is a measure of the user experience while the service is available. So it may also happen that the users that you are using, for them the quality of service might mean something different. So quality of service for them could be based upon the application that you are using, and the service provider can always say yes, my service is available but users are not happy, is not my lookout. So quality of service has to be designed and defined very properly. Quality can be an issue with just about any application that is human user working at one end of the progress. So currently you must be seeing, due to this COVID, so many people are accessing internet heavily, people are working from home. So the expected quality of internet might go down in the evening time or when maximum people are using it, people are watching movies. So if you come across like the recent example that I came across, I have I'm a paid customer for Amazon Prime, and I'm watching the movies and I'm utilizing it for fun. So I have registered it under the HD quality, but now suddenly when the app got updated, it gave me a message that due to the increasing demand of the internet, it is converting it from HD to SD. So now I'm not getting the high quality, high definition service, but I'm getting a reduced level of service. So this happens. So quality of, so defining service quality varies with each organization, but the process has some similarities in every company that needs to get the job done. Then there comes regulatory issues and accountability, which we must consider. That when you are into some agreement or when you are doing something really important, so security in the cloud isn't just a matter of firewalls or and something. It also matter of accountability, auditing, and plans of action. So government regulations are big enough concern that Amazon's website has dedicated section about HIPAA, healthcare privacy regulations. So all the server operating systems currently are currently available. Windows is by far the most aggressive system for regulatory template availability. Regulatory issues are really important. I think we have discussed in unit number 3 where regulatory issues take place. If you have some data of a certain country's people, which contains their name and details and address and all that. So if a country like UK, which has a restriction, a regulatory restriction by a country saying that their data cannot be kept on a backup server or mirror images outside UK's territory. So entire data has to be within over there. So virtually the data can actually go anywhere, but yes, they have made it mandatory. So any business who is keeping their servers maybe in undersea or underwater or Antarctica, which does not, so they have to think about that the data does not is not from UK. So such kind of regulatory keeps happening. The China is very best example of it. So they have their own regulatory systems. As I explained, regulatory issues. I have also given this example in class talking about BlackBerry mobile phone. They have their own code of encryption and which they weren't ready to share with people or with the government, and then the government has to say them tata bye bye and they have to quit the business. So regulatory issues are very important, and every now and then they must be updated. A country or an organization can implement or have updated regulatory uh, policies every now and then, and all companies have to be abided with that. Second point is accountability is in terms of auditing a certain big component while tossing up in the cloud. So auditing. So auditing, we all know what is auditing. So accountability of holding something what is provided. So at the end of a day, at the end of any year, when you are performing auditing, so by authorized companies of auditing, so they generate a report of how was the entire performance of the company over the period based on the service level agreements. So, well, that was the cloud issues that we have just discussed. So, I'll just take you to what we have discussed. So, we discussed four type of things. We discussed availability of functionality, technology issues, the management and contractual, that is the regulatory issues, and issues of stability and reliability should be taken up. So, I hope you have understood this. Thank you for watching it.